What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, you never miss a stream. Today is Thursday, August 4th, day 30 already inside the Big Brother house. And tonight's going to be a wild one. We've got the live eviction episode, which we will be here live on the channel doing a watch along. Probably go live around 8:45, about maybe 15 minutes before the episode, East Coast time. So if you're on the West Coast or if you're on a different time zones, we are going off the East Coast time. That's the first airing of the episode. So we will be live here on the channel. Come hang out. It's a good time. We are going to break down what happened in the episode, and we're also going to talk about what happened on the live feeds last night. I say last night, it's right as I'm recording this right now, 7 in the morning, and they are still talking, but I think it's safe to kind of get this update for you. I have it up right now, so if you hear it in the background, that's what it is, and I'll let you know if anything else crazy happens. My little tagline, you want to watch till the end to find out who ate the muffin. That's the key. Trust me, it's a great story. So let's start off with the episode. We finished off the last episode with the nominations of Alyssa and Indy. We start off this episode with that. Monte kind of talks about, it's like, it just made sense, right? They are the only besties that have no members of the leftovers, so it just made sense. Put them up, because then if they don't have control of the veto, or if the veto is not used, at least they know a leftover is 100% safe. Now, Nicole was not exactly as enthused this week after the Ameerah situation last week to go onto the block. She was like, you know what? I think I'm happy being on the block. I don't trust everything that's going on. I'm a little worried that if I go up on the block, the same thing's going to happen. Daniel even had a little moment where he's like, I want to win it so I cannot use it so that Nicole doesn't get backdoored. So it was like, okay, this is a thing. We also got to see the formation of the Michael, Brittany, and Taylor alliance, which if you've been following here on the channel, my alliance stretch you've known about for a little while now. But it was cool to kind of see that happen, how they want to all kind of take each other to the final three. What wasn't shown in the episode, because this is more of a recent update, and I don't know if they're actually even going to bother showing it, because sometimes they don't show these final two deals, was Brittany and Taylor kind of talking to each other and being like, yeah, you know what, like, wouldn't it be something if we go to the final two together? Because then they would have to vote for one of us. I could even see that being a clip that they grabbed, they're holding on to until maybe later in the season if it comes down to that. So they might actually use that clip later. But we didn't see anything mentioned in this episode about their new final two. Otherwise, you know, with Nicole not wanting to go on the block and Daniel saying he doesn't want to use the block, everyone's talking about, like, hey, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if Daniel had to win a veto and then used it and Nicole goes up and he sends her home? Wouldn't that be amazing? So, yeah, you know what? We get to the veto, and it was Monte, Joseph, and Terrance, right? They're the three-person bestie with Indy and Alyssa, the nominees. And then it was, funny enough, Daniel and Kyle, who were picked to play in the veto competition. Now, the veto competition was a little weird. There were things I liked about it, things I didn't like about it, but overall, I like the idea of the competition, right? The basic concept was they had to eat some psychedelic slop, which then sent them on a trip where they would watch this cartoon. They then had to relay what they saw in this cartoon to whoever their partner was, and then their partner would have to answer questions based on what they told them they saw. So it really was kind of funny to watch them relay, because it did sound like someone who just had a crazy trip, and they're like, yeah, there was a river that was made of rainbows, 7 mushrooms, the sun had a smile with a tongue sticking out of it. It was pretty funny to watch them describe what they saw. But for those reasons, I like this competition. I thought it was pretty cool. I could even see where this would be an interesting competition, like maybe one of like the first or second veto competitions of the season, where you have to like pick someone to be your person that relays the information to you, which could add a little bit of like a social dynamic to like, hey, you better pick somebody good to go with you. Because otherwise, this one really only works with pairs that are already working together. But overall, I still thought this was a very interesting. Is Alyssa going into Kyle's pants right now? They're in the storage room doing stuff. Like I said, I've got the feeds on still, but there's some wild stuff that's been happening. It's late into the night, early morning here, and they're still going crazy. Anyway, back to the veto competition. It was a fun one. I kind of enjoyed it. Where I didn't enjoy it, it felt cheap, right? Like it really cost them probably nothing to do this. We didn't get to see them watch the video. They just played the video like the house guests were pretending they were gonna trip, and like they had them do like voiceovers for it. So like Joseph was like, "Whoa, dude, look at those mushrooms." But it's still, I thought the cartoons were well done. They were kind of cool to watch and see, but it just felt weird overall. Like I said, there were things I liked about it, things I didn't like about it. And of course, Daniel and Kyle won the veto, and Kyle was like, "Hey, like, we're using it right to get Alyssa off the block, right? Put Nicole and Taylor up, and everything will be fine." Daniel was like, I don't want to use it, right? Like, I'm not gonna use it. Like, we got to convince Kyle not to want to use it. How are we gonna convince Kyle not to want to use it? This is gonna be crazy. And so it seemed like it was gonna be a little bit of a dilemma. Like, Daniel doesn't want to use it. Kyle wants to use it. What's gonna be the dilemma there? But it completely gets flipped on its head. Because then the leftovers have this idea, and to be honest, in game theory, it made a lot of sense. The idea was, if you keep Alyssa and Indy on the block, one of them will have to join one of the other bestie groups. If one of them, let's say they voted out Alyssa, if Indy stays and picks Michael and Brittany, they're in great shape. Every pair has someone not in the leftovers. So if one of them goes up, they have the numbers and they have a target that they can vote out. Everyone is protected. It was a little bit of a long shot that Indy would take Michael and Brittany, especially for a couple of reasons. One, Indy hates Brittany. Indy hates Brittany. Indy also hates being a have-not. And for 2 weeks in a row now, they've been trying to get Brittany to be a have-not, but there's just kind of like things that are stopping it, right? So first, it was the besties, and Michael was a have-not already. So she's like, he's been a have-not. Like, there's other opportunities. So they went with Nicole and Taylor that week. Then this week, it was going to be Brittany, but then it was Michael's birthday, so Indy was pissed. She was really like, you were supposed to be the one. So they had to pick Turner and Jasmine to be the have-nots. So Indy might even think, well, they're going to be the have-nots. I'm not going to pick them. There is a potential that it could have worked out through the twist that she could have had to choose Monte, Joseph, or Terrance as her new bestie, right? Breaking up that trio so that there's no more trios and it's all just bestie pairs, right? They could have been like, well, you know, you can have more than one bestie, but also sometimes you can steal someone else's bestie, and maybe that was the thing, right? She could infiltrate and steal one of their besties. There's a chance that the twist even ends, and then if the twist ends, you're left with Nicole and Daniel, and no one's insulated, and then if one of them wins, you're screwed. But you would still have the numbers at the end of the day, so as long as, you know, two of the leftovers didn't end up on the block, you'd still be in a good position. But in the end, as soon as Monte goes to try and suggest this to Daniel and Nicole, they instantly go, oh, they don't have the numbers to get me out. They were trying to get me out, and now they don't want to do it, so they're trying to save Taylor. Use the veto. You were going to be safe, Nicole. Daniel is backdooring his best friend in the game by using the veto. And Kyle kind of says it the best himself. He's like, look, this is great for my game because I don't want to be the one to have to say, no, I'm not using the veto and Alyssa to go home. But also, I get to save face with the leftovers because he's the one, forcing this to happen. And it's maybe the dumbest move in Big Brother history. Listen, I don't know if it's as dumb as not using the veto on yourself, or volunteering to be evicted because you thought you were going to get a power. But it's up there. It's up there as far as like really bad moves in Big Brother goes. But yeah, that was the episode, which leads us into what's going to happen on tonight's episode on the live eviction, and where the votes kind of stand. So let's kind of catch you up on what's been happening so far. First off, kind of an interesting little thing. If you see this happen, I'm still not 100% sure if it's going to become a real thing maybe eventually, or if it's going to stay a fake thing. But Taylor and Joseph have floated the idea of maybe pretending to be in a showmance. So that would explain Joseph's vote to keep Taylor to Daniel and the rest of the house. It's a possibility. We might see it happen. We might not. But it's just a thought that goes out there. Turner thought this was genius. Turner thought this was like a fantastic idea. He's like, yo, that's smart. So we'll see how it goes. And then the plan is to try and see if they can get some others on board. They want to talk to Terrance. They want to talk to Jasmine. Kyle's going to talk to Alyssa. And maybe they can actually end up making this a 9-1 vote tomorrow and not have to worry. But they say that, there's always the chance where it does end up being a split vote. So Nicole made her rounds, and it was really kind of funny because her pitch was basically like, I am just full of integrity in this game and loyalty. I have so much grace, and if that's what causes me to end, I'm just not built for this game. And if that's how it has to be, that's how it has to be. And she's like, I don't yell and I don't scream. I'm not emotional. Remember that for a little bit later, as we start talking about stuff here. So Monte fills in Terrance, and he's like, yo, there's gonna be Pooch 2.0, right? This is Pooch number 2. She is completely lying and manipulating, and she's lying to me all the time. Like, people are saying they have the numbers and they're not gonna vote, for Taylor to go. They're voting for Nicole, and it seems like that's the way it's gonna be. Terrance is like, yo, okay, on board. We'll see about that, Terrance. Kyle tells Alyssa, he's like, yeah, I'm voting Nicole out. And Alyssa's like, okay. And Jasmine gets filled in by Monte, and Monte was like, yeah, you know what? She's lied to me. She even said, like, next week if I win HOH, like, I'm not gonna put up, you, Monte, or Joseph, or Terrance. I love you guys, and I wouldn't put up, Daniel, because I love Daniel. I wouldn't want to risk Daniel. And, well, I wouldn't put up Michael and Brittany. So who would that leave? Alyssa, Indy, and Turner, Jasmine. So she was trying to, like, throw them under the bus. He lied about talking to Jasmine and throwing Monte under the bus to her. And there was just, like, a lot of things that he caught her lying to. And then he told this to Jasmine, and Jasmine was like, all right, well, it is what it is. She immediately went to Alyssa and started talking about, like, we don't want to be on the wrong side of this, right? Like, if we get the vibe that, she's got the majority of votes to leave, we should vote with the house. We can't afford that again. Which, by the way, to me, still is, like, the dumbest strategy ever, right? Like, if it's gonna be a losing situation, screw it and just throw your votes out there anyway. Draw those lines in the sand. Let it happen, right? Like, don't go down. Oh, that was a big makeout session from Kyle and Alyssa. This thing's getting deep for that boy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So if you're gonna lose, right, go out swinging, right? Don't lay on your sword and just go with the house. I hate that mentality to it. They fill in Indy, who is not happy about it. they don't actually think Indy will vote to evict Nicole and would vote for Taylor still. So it could even be like a 9-2 situation, but we'll see where Indy would lay with that as well. Indy actually goes to Joe and before that, right? So Indy kind of has a conversation with Nicole, and without telling her, kind of tips her off what's coming. And this leads to Nicole being really suspicious and starting to kind of work her way around, and then eventually going back to Nicole to Indy and kind of yelling at her, right? Being like, well, you know what? I got, no clue what's happening with the girls. Like, I've got Daniel, Terrance, and I guess I got you. If you want Taylor on your side, go ahead and vote with her. And everyone was like, oh, shit. Indy was like, what the hell? So Indy, relays that to Jasmine. Indy actually tells Joseph and Monte about this. She was like yelling at me, saying, like, she doesn't have the votes. And I was like, well, find your votes and we'll see what happens. But she thought that Indy was gonna like blow up, right? She wanted this to be like Indy like having like a big blow up in the house, and they were waiting in the other room like listening. She's like waiting for it. She's like, it's crickets in there now. Meanwhile, like on the other cams, they're all just laughing in the bathroom. So Jasmine and Indy kind of meet again, and they're like, we can't go against the house. If she's being voted out, we gotta go with it, right? And they then go and meet with Dan and Terrance because Nicole had gone to the diary room, and they were like, we gotta do this, right? We just need 5, and then we force him to break it, and if he breaks it, he breaks it. At least we know where he stands, right? If we can get 6, then we can get 6, and it'll be fine. So they're kind of hoping they can get Joseph, they could get Kyle involved, and they can't get either of them because they're in the leftovers. Terrance actually goes and tries to get Joseph to vote Taylor out in the bathroom. He's like, yeah, so if we have you, that could be 6 because it's me, you, Daniel, Alyssa, Indy, and then we can get Kyle because that's 5, and then we can get Kyle at 6. It's like that. Terrance, my boy. Well, do you really not know what's going on here, Terrance? do you really? He goes back to the room to tell them, and they go, Monte and Joseph are like, we can't even see my fingers. Monte and Joseph are like this. What are you doing? He immediately went up to tell Monte, who was talking to Taylor. He's like, yeah, they're like really campaigning. They're trying to do this. Even Terrance was just trying to get me to vote you out. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. And by the way, kind of a nice moment while all that was going on. Taylor was upstairs talking to Monte because she was like, you know what? I just want to come here and thank you. You, as HOH, you did a lot of things that you didn't need to do as HOH, and like you took my feelings into consideration. You thought about my thoughts and my opinions, and I just really wanted to thank you. So it was kind of really a nice moment. So Jasmine was gonna go upstairs to go talk to Monte and Joseph. And they're watching, right? They're on the HOH because they're like, oh, Jasmine's coming up here. Taylor, you should get out of here so we can talk to her. So Jasmine's on her way up, and they think like she's gonna, start talking about like the Indy stuff because Indy came up and told them what was going on. So Jasmine, they thought was gonna come up now too, especially after the Terrance thing. So she comes up, and the first thing she says was, "Did you eat this muffin?" He apparently had put some muffins out on the table. They were put in a Ziploc bag, and there was like a muffin. It was like cut in half, and half of it was eaten. So there was a muffin gate. Who ate Jasmine's muffin? She was like, because I asked everyone in the house, and they are all saying no. Joseph, was it you? He's like, if it was me, I would come out and say it. Monty's like, I don't even have a reason to eat your muffin. There's no reason for me to eat your muffin. She was very upset about this muffin more than the possibility of Nicole getting voted out and figuring out where the votes were. The muffin was priority. So who ate the muffin? We'll find out in just a bit, because she had a talk with Monte and Joseph and being like, yeah, they're scrambling. She's doing this. She's doing that. If I had to guess, I think Jasmine and Alyssa, they're going to vote Nicole out. I think Indy and Daniel, they're the question marks. I think Indy will eventually join Alyssa and Jasmine, but I'm not 100% sure. I think Terrance will join on as well. So it's either going to be 9-2 or a 9-1 vote. There is a very small possibility that Alyssa, Indy, Daniel, and Terrance all vote to evict Taylor. Very small possibility, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I really don't think they're just going to split the house like that. They keep saying that they don't want to be on the other side of the house. The only way that could happen is one of their thoughts was, are the guys trying to lie to us, get us to vote Nicole out while they vote Taylor out, and then blame the Nicole votes on us. So they might actually vote Taylor thinking it's like a double reverse play, but it's not. Nicole also kind of made another last-ditch effort onto Turner in the bathroom. So Turner's in the bathroom, and Nicole's like, where are the votes at? What are you doing? What are you this? And like Terrance was there and Daniel was there. And Turner's just like sitting in the corner of the bathroom, just like, oh man, like, I don't know, like, what do you, like not committing, but not, And eventually they leave, and Taylor comes over. She's like, you okay? He was like, yeah, I felt like I was getting ganged on, but it's like, Taylor, I got a confession. I ate the muffin. Fucking Turner ate the muffin. So if you remember one thing, watch out for your muffins, because Turner might eat anyway, they're still going. Alyssa and Kyle are in the storage room here, kind of having a makeout session. Taylor, Turner, and Joseph, I think, are still laughing about the whole muffin situation, and Nicole like getting in people's faces and trying to get a vote. It's kind of hilarious at this point. I'm excited to see this all play out tomorrow. More people have heard about Taylor's like vicious speech that she's gonna give for her eviction speech to the house, and they did tell Monte, like, just in case, prepare a speech if it does end up being tied for some reason, which would take kind of a miracle, I think, at this point. Like, it would have to be a really crazy situation for it to end up being tied, and for Monte to have to break it, but just in case, have one prepared. So that's where we stand right now. I think everyone's kind of wrapping up, getting ready for bed. So we will see how things go tomorrow on the feeds. And again, like I said, we will be live here for the live eviction episode. Well, tomorrow I say, but today, it's today's episode. It feels like tomorrow because I haven't been to sleep yet, because these people are still up, and then I have to go. I can't even stay up for this thing anymore. But yeah, we will have the live eviction episode tonight, and we'll be live here on the channel. 8:30, 8:45 we'll be live here on the channel. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you get a notification as soon as we go live. And also, you'll never miss a video that we post as well. If you are new here, make sure you have hit that subscribe button and hit that like button if you made it all the way to the end of this video. Thank you guys all for watching. My name's been Ori, and I will see you next time.